In the hemorrhoids. Wow. When you're sticking that in your butt. Who do you think was the first person to discover or decide to go, hey, what if I stuck some honey in your butt?
A desperate person.
Way up in there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bumble Bears podcast. We're your hosts, Willie and Says.
Hello.
We are backyard beekeepers here in Melbourne, Australia, with a keen interest in all things bee-related. Today we are casting from our bed, laying down.
Yeah, well, this is there's a reason for that because
Our brood is expanding.
yeah,
We've got a little bun in the oven, and I felt like laying down, so
yeah, that's good.
this queen bee gets what she wants. What are we talking about today, Willie?
Oh, I've actually been really excited to do this topic for ages because we get to talk about, the science, the lack of science about this, and also it's an area which I know absolutely nothing about because I take horrible care of myself. So today's topic, honey and the skin, specifically the use of honey in products which get applied to skin, from medicines to cosmetics.
Yeah, so it's a very popular ingredient, I guess, in skincare is, honey, bee venom, royal jelly, all those propolis, all this kind of stuff. Specifically today we are going to focus on honey, what it does to the skin, why it's in all these skincare products, and the actual science behind it, or lack thereof.
Sarah, I'm just going to put it out there. You have a very disciplined and very methodical self-treatment, routine and that's why you look amazing and youthful, and everyone thinks that you look younger than me, even though you're 8 days older than me. And I think that it's largely because of your extensive knowledge in skincare. So it's very exciting for me to, as someone who is, invested in, being conscious of what they put on their skin and how to get the most out of it. Like your journey in researching this and the things that you have found.
Yeah, it is something that interests me, and I see this a lot, honey face masks, honey in your lip balm, etc., etc. And especially right now, it's coming to the end of our bee season, and we just have such a plethora of honey that we're constantly thinking about, what can we do with all this honey besides just eat it and sell it as it is. So we started looking into skincare products, and the big questions that I went into this with was, what exactly does honey do for the skin? And like, what are the chemical components of honey and how do they react with the skin? So there are quite a lot of extreme claims that a lot of cosmetic companies make about the properties of honey, and I grabbed a couple things off some clickbait websites. From Women's Health Mag says anti-aging, exfoliating, fading scars, acne treatment, glowing skin, moisturizer.
How does it make your skin fade, i.e. for scars, but makes it glow at the same time? I feel like that's like two completely opposite things.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these buzzwords get thrown around, like anti-aging, and I feel like, I never just want to accept that at face value. I want to figure out how. Tell me exactly how. Tell me the science, Another example, sheknows.com said it's good for acne, anti-aging, complexion boost, and pores. Then, just to go a little deeper, I looked at some specific products. The I Am Honey Mask says that it's good for skin elasticity, deep moisturizing, provides nutritions into the skin. Oh yeah, I thought that.
Nutritions.
Yeah, they English might not be their first language. That's okay.
I
And rebuild barrier.
rebuild barrier.
Hmm.
Nutrition's in rebuild barrier. That sounds like, what's happening in the US Mexican border.
Oh god, yeah. Sounds like they're playing Minecraft or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or Age of
And
Empires.
or for example, the Andalou pumpkin honey glycolic mask says that honey cleans and exfoliates. So I decided to take a little deep dive into Google Scholar to examine what kind of studies have actually been done on using honey as a dermatological product. But before I get into that, I just want to say I saw like these clickbait articles online a few weeks ago that were like how honey changed my skin or how I revolutionized my skin with honey. And there were quite a few of these, and it was showing the before and after of these girls who would have some, pretty intense acne or redness or something. And then in the after photo, she's got like perfect skin. And they're claiming, all I did was wash my face with honey, or all I did was use a honey mask.
Hey, I'm just gonna put something out here. This is kind of related, but not related at the same time. Did did anyone in your high school, or back in your high school days, did anyone ever put this thing out like if you put toothpaste on like a zit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever try that?
No.
Okay.
I think my brother did, though. He had
Okay.
really bad acne.
I've done it, and okay, I didn't have really bad acne per se, but I think it worked.
Did it?
I think so.
It's one of those things that is like a home remedy or whatever, but real skincare professionals and dermatologists will tell you like don't put that stuff on your face. Like it
Okay.
dries out your skin. It might work in the short term, but in the long term, it's not good for you.
Okay.
Also, my brother used to put egg whites on his face.
Oh, that's banging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd like let it dry.
Yeah. Well, that's a gross look because yeah, it's like you're flaky.
Shiny, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. But anyways, I kept seeing these articles, and the girls who wrote them or whatever were constantly claiming, all I did was just take pure honey, wipe it all over your face like a mask, let it sit there for 10 minutes, and wash it off with water, and that's it.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting, yeah. So I was.
That's also really expensive.
Yeah, totally. And they would always try to prove their legitimacy by being like, make sure you get real honey. Don't buy the, sugary honey that comes in the little bear jar. Like you actually have to get the real deal for this to work. So
Oh man, I'm even more outraged because yeah, like you know how the amount of work that goes from the bees firstly to generate a jar of we'll just say I don't know a few tablespoons of honey. Like a bee generates like 1/10 of a teaspoon in its lifetime, right?
yeah,
So I'm
so
what that's like you need like what 2 tablespoons per treatment. I'm just gonna put it out there
mm,
to smear it all over your face.
so how many bees life work is just on your face?
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
smearing on your face.
Well, the thing is, I was open to it if it's gonna work, but like most things on the internet, it's just. And I'm not saying that these people were lying. Maybe it worked for them, but I decided to try it. So I just put together like a very small jar of our honey and put it in our bathroom, and then I tried it for about a week. I think I did it 3 times.
Oh, is that the thing that you made with the cocoa powder?
No, I put cinnamon in it because then they would claim that like the cinnamon helps or something.
Right, like a gingerbread biscuit.
Yeah, I mean, technically you could eat it, but I don't know if it was the honey or the cinnamon, but something was making my face horrendously red after I take it off. And again, dermatologists will tell you anything that makes your face red straight away, any product or anything you put on your face that makes it go red straight away is not good. That is your skin saying, I don't like this. It's getting inflamed straight away and it's trying to get rid of it.
Okay. I have never glooped honey all over my face or smeared it on my face and stuff. However, sometimes when we get deep into an extraction,
That's why
honey gets on my hands, and at the end of the extraction, my hands start to get itchy
Oh yeah.
because because there's like so high in sugar and there's not much water in it. It's like naturally it sucks the water out of my hands.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just one of those, I don't know. A lot of these home remedy things that people claim to work, a dermatologist will be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't do that." Like lemon juice. Don't put lemon juice on your skin, people, please. Don't. Or these sugar scrubs, you can use them on your body because the skin on your body is different. It's not as sensitive. But if you use those harsh scrubs on your face, like sugar is these little crystals, and it's gonna cut your face. It's not good for you. So
Unless you're like Keith Richards and you have leathery face.
Leatherface, yeah.
Yeah, or like if you're like
I wonder what Keith Richards' skincare routine is.
yeah, probably
Dipping his face in a bowl of cocaine. Anyways, so that was my experience with trying honey on my face. And as Willie just backed up, when he's gotten honey on his hands, it's irritated his skin as well. So, going back to Google Scholar, because, I'm not a uni student anymore, and that's the only really archive that I have access to at the moment.
you should get Willie to PubMed these things for you.
Yeah, I know, but you were busy. I'm the one with free time. Anyways, I did a good look through Google Scholar and I searched several keywords just trying to see what kind of research has been done for using honey in skincare and dermatology. And guess what? Pretty much nothing has been done extensively for using honey as a cosmetic ingredient. Now, there were a few articles that came up, and I know Google Scholar is very limited.
It's actually pretty good these days. Like, a lot of academics use it, interchangeably with PubMed. So
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see you can see the listings and see what's there, but it's just a matter of what you actually have access to is
yeah,
quite limited. So obviously I could see, the abstracts of quite a few articles, and there was nothing that was coming up saying honey in anti-aging or honey for skin elasticity. Like there were no studies about stuff like that. The only stuff that came up even close to cosmetic skincare was like something from the 90s from India, like about Ayurvedic medicine
yeah.
or something.
On one hand, like if I were to play devil's advocate and being in the research community, I would say one could argue that the reason why there isn't a lot of literature on this is if you're a taxpayer and someone got a grant for like say $500,000 for 3 years of research to see if honey makes your skin more youthful, taxpayers might get really upset.
True, but at the same time, the makeup and skincare, like the beauty industry, is hundreds
True,
of
they
billions of
could fund the
dollars.
research and disclose any sort of conflict of interest.
Especially now with YouTube and startups and stuff, like anybody can start a skincare brand, and there's so much out there now. There's so many options, and it's I feel like it's kind of trendy right now, like skincare. So it did surprise me that I didn't see anything that jumped out right away.
Yeah, true. Like by that logic, like okay, pardon my ignorance. Do L'Oreal make skin products like moisturize?
L'Oreal, yeah.
Okay, hypothetically, L'Oreal is like a multi-billion-dollar company. Realistically, they could have an R&D department to test this stuff, and then if they have findings, they could publish it. So that's
Because
very true.
they're testing other ingredients,
Yeah,
retinol, hyaluronic acid, etc., all these popular ingredients. There are tests on that, and you can find stuff about it, but not honey.
hyaluronic acid is the key ingredient of the vitreous in your eyeball.
Is it really
Yeah, so you're putting eyeball juice.
nice? Is that
Yeah.
how they get it? They juice eyeballs?
I fucking hope not.
I don't know. Like sometimes I pick up my bottle of moisturizer and I'm like, I have no idea where the fuck this stuff came from, but it makes my face soft, so If somebody put some little ferret eyeballs in a juicer, then that's what happened. However, so despite there being not much research on dermatology and skincare using honey as an ingredient, there was a lot of research about honey as an antibacterial agent and being used for burns, wound care, and ulcers. So there's a lot of
burn for you.
there's a lot of conclusive evidence that honey has antibacterial properties and that it can be useful in wound management. So, as I was doing this deep dive and I wasn't getting any answers about what honey does for skincare, there were answers that what honey does do is it can help your cuts heal. It's called How Honey Kills Bacteria.
But from the lead author is Paulus Quackman, and
these are some intense names. I'm not even gonna try honestly, but yes, Quackman and his team. It's from 2010, and basically.
So yeah, they were able to culture some very very common bacteria, which cause local skin infections. So one of the most common ones is staph. I'm sure you've all heard of it. Like hospitals are usually constantly struggling with staph outbreaks because if you have a large concentration of sick people and people with pretty manky skin, then you just generating like this center as a breeding ground for it. So looking into the controlling staph infection is always very high in the priority of any sort of.
Oh my god, have you ever known anyone who's gotten that? It's gnarly.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
It like takes over. But anyways.
Yeah. So these people basically, if it was a sugar alone, then they used honey and used an equivalent sugar solution to try and
like neutralize the bacteria, right?
Yes, and they noticed they had to use roughly twice. If we're talking sugar alone, they had to use twice the volume of sugar to water ratio compared to honey in order to neutralize the bacteria. And the reason, and then they delve deeper, and it's because honey is not just fructose, in a water solution. Honey also has peroxide and
MgO.
and has peroxide, and it also has MgO, which is the stuff that is really concentrated on Manuka honey, and which is what makes Manuka honey really really expensive. But we will talk about that in another podcast.
Yeah.
But it's got it's basically got, in lay terms, it's got a whole bunch of other enzymes and little factors as well, which in conjunction with the sugar content is what kills bacteria.
Yeah, so that's just, honey does have these amazing, you could say, healing properties, and at least you can say antibacterial properties. Here's a great study that can break down exactly how and why.
Yeah, if you want to read more, into it yourself, because don't just take our word for it. By all means, please, have a peruse. It was published in 2010. The lead author is Quackman, Kwakman, and the senior corresponding author is Sebastian A.J. Zaat. That's Zaat spelled Z-A-A-T.
Zaat, yes. So yeah, how honey kills bacteria. Yeah. So do you know? I just remembered as a kid, when my mom would cut the dog's nails, like, she's pretty clumsy, like, she's kind of a fumble fingers type person. So occasionally she would, like, cut the quick on him.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like, accidentally. And then she would put sugar on it. Yeah. And to stop the bleeding and to keep it from getting infected. And it actually worked.
Weird.
But yeah, now I'm like, you should have used honey, Mom. So yeah, that's basically just one example of a plethora of studies that are out there about honey as an antibacterial agent. There was people have been trying it on various like ulcers and skin issues, eczema, scars, etc., etc. I think, to varying success, but the things that they've been able to show the most results with are cuts, burns, and ulcers. So then my next question was, how about when you take honey internally? What does that do for your skin? And then just knowing that honey is, mostly sugar, I looked up what's the glycemic index of honey, and it said it can range from 32 to 85.
That is a very big range.
That is a huge range, yeah.
Do you think that could be potentially, well, other than the fact that there's seasonal differences, so it's very hard because we don't know for sure where bees collect the nectar from.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that spiking could also be because sometimes it's adulterated with sugar syrup?
I do think that's part of it, but then see, this one here says depending on the botanical source.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically it can vary. It's not as straightforward as, say, sugar, which I think has a GI of 65. This is just a scale that's useful for, say, diabetics, or if you have other blood sugar issues or something like that, then it might be something that you pay attention to. Or if you're just generally like a healthy person who tries not to have too much sugar in your life, I guess, or carbs. Chocolate.
Yeah, because I don't need to pay attention to GI because I don't have much of a sweet tooth.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, like when we had to drive and get donuts at 9 o'clock at night.
And then I ate my whole one and I didn't share it with you. And then you were like, did you already finish it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
True story.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Lemmy wanted it. It wasn't me.
You need it more than I do.
Yeah. But anyways, basically this whole glycemic index conversation is just to say that if you consume something that's, on the high glycemic index, what happens is you get a blood sugar spike, which gives you an insulin spike, which messes with your hormones. So it ends up, that hormone spike can be a problem for your skin because it can affect your sebaceous gland, which is part of what creates all the sebum that comes through your skin and can block your pores and cause inflammation and stuff like that. So, is honey going to be bad for your skin? I guess it depends how much you consume and how high that particular honey blend is on the glycemic index. The short answer is in moderation, just like all things, you're probably going to be fine. So, to answer our earlier question, what does honey do for the skin? I mean, the only really conclusive answer I have for that is that it's antibacterial. And that, people say if you use it to heal a burn or something like that, it can help speed up the healing or at least keep you from getting an infection. So, does it make you have bouncy, youthful, anti-aging skin? I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose if we go back to, say, the claim that it can be good for acne. So theoretically, and obviously this is like playing devil's advocate and drawing a very long bow, a pimple is basically a wound, right? And there is...
Well, not until you pop it.
True, but there is an infection.
But there's no broken skin unless you actually pop it. So I don't know if you can call it a wound. It's still under a layer of skin.
Okay, no, it's not an open wound, but there is a localized bacterial infection.
Right.
So if we were to sort of extrapolate, and this is extrapolating a lot, that honey can attenuate a bacterial infection, then theoretically that if you got the dosage of honey right, or at least the constituents of honey right, and I guess it's soaked into the pimple, then it should theoretically make it go away.
I think that's the idea, but my question is, how does it absorb? How does it absorb into the skin? Like, this is always the question with natural remedies and, all this kind of stuff. Say you eat a tablespoon of honey. That's going to immediately start absorbing into your bloodstream because you put it in your mouth. And, your saliva is breaking it down and it's going through your digestive system. Your body absorbs it that way. When you put stuff on your skin, it's a very different ball game. Like, what actually absorbs into your skin.
Everything.
Like when the Chinese witch doctor told your mom to put that little poultice of dog shit on her broken ankle.
Don't get me started about the dog shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same idea. It's
Yeah.
like, how does this little, like, wet herbs on a broken bone on the outside, how is that helping?
Yeah. But in the context of acne, and I'm just going to use acne as a very brief, simplified example. That is very, very, very superficial as far as the skin. Like, I'm not going to begin about, curing wrinkles. But if we just talk about, say, acne, sugar gets absorbed, sugar can be absorbed through your skin very easily because your skin's porous, right? Peroxide can get absorbed very quickly as well because, I think I'm told, like, in North America, people keep peroxide in their medicine cabinets, so when they get cuts, it gets cauterized, So peroxide gets absorbed in the skin very quickly as well. It's those other things which are unknown, but already if a large part of the bacterial infection comes from, say, osmolarity of the sugar and sufficient peroxide infiltrating it, in theory it would work, but still,
I don't know.
Aggravates your skin more than it's also really harsh.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent of healing acne at the source, which is often your hormones and your diet and stress. Like, those are the three main causes of acne, and no matter what you put on your skin, if you're not addressing those three things, you're not going to fix it. Like,
some people just get really bad acne no matter what, though.
But a lot of times, if they end up doing, like, getting their hormones balanced or something like that,
yeah,
it fixes it.
Yeah, but people with autoimmune diseases can get really bad acne, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You can't just fix an autoimmune disease.
I know. I'm not pretending to be a doctor. Well, I kind of am. But but what I'm getting at is there's not a lot of research on this. We couldn't find a lot of research other than, yes, honey is good for being an antibacterial agent. And you know what? We did make a body scrub with some honey, and the honey worked as an amazing binding agent for the scrub. Like,
it smells so good.
It smells really good, and it also gives it this, like, crumbly, like, magic sand kind of texture where it's, like, kind of sticking together, but it's kind of not.
Yeah, because normally a lot of hobby beekeepers try and fight the natural crystallization process of honey, which is colloquially known as candying. But in this case, the candying on the honey actually really helped us out to actually make the scrub, give it a bit more texture.
Yeah, so I think if the point of the honey is that, like, to get to be a carrier or like a textural component of some kind of blend, then I believe that because I've seen it work. But is it going to give you Cate Blanchett skin? I doubt it.
I'm pretty sure they digitally de-aged Cate Blanchett as well. Or they at least did in the most recent...
Well, she's not putting honey on her face, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, she's probably never had to stress for like the past 20 years as well. Well, I guess we have a whole winter to try and experiment with honey on ourselves. Well, you can experiment on me. I know you have a lot of...
I did not react well to it.
Yeah, I know that, you like to look after yourself, but maybe we can try it on half my face and leave the other half as a control, and we'll see what happens.
No, we should try to get rid of some of your scars.
Yeah, no.
They're never going away.
The scars are never going away. Yeah.
That's okay. They give you character and you look handsome, like you've been in the wars.
or had really bad acne when I was a child.
Well, anyways, the end of the story is we don't know, and although there's a lot of anecdotal evidence out there, there's not a lot of research on it. However, if you have had a good experience with using honey topically for dermatological purposes, we would love to hear it. So
Yes, please share your stories.
Yeah, so give us a comment if that's the case.
Or if, say, you had some sort of, serious condition and it all went away because you ate a jar a day. We want to hear that sort of story as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Give us a shout if you have some stories about how honey paid your mortgage and paid off your student debt.
I had a friend which he said like his grandma had cancer, and then she ate, like during chemotherapy, she ate Nutrigrain every day. But then eventually she got into nutrition, and obviously it can be a million things, but her nan attributes Nutrigrain to like helping her beat cancer.
It saved my life.
Yeah, no, she wrote to Kellogg's and said like Nutrigrain saved me from my cancer.
Oh, that's cute. I told you about the wheatgrass enemas, right?
Oh, what?
When I worked at
wheatgrass enemas.
Yeah, when I worked at the herb shop, we had this woman who, she's lovely, and sadly she had rectal cancer.
That's bad.
And yeah, and one of the things because the herb shop was trying to help her out and giving her all these options, and one of the things they prescribed her was a wheatgrass enema, and she beat the cancer. And she said,
"Did you administer it in the shop?"
No, it's like she had to do it at home. We gave her the wheatgrass.
Okay, how does she apply it?
Have you never done an enema before?
No.
Let's go try it. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Just kidding. Anyways, we should wrap this up. So wherever you are in the world, you can be a keeper of the bees by being kind to bees.
Such a shit sign off.
Well, let's hear yours.
Bye-bye.
Well, we're gonna bumble on out of here.
Yeah.
We have to have some kind of sign off.
Okay, how about I wanted a Guatemalan, not a watermelon.
No, we are not promoting the Bee Movie. We'll think of something. Anyways, we're off to lay down and talk about wheatgrass enemas. So, yes, take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.